excited to be with you today because I really wanted to share something that I've been thinking about the last couple of days because my dance company has celebrated 20 years of business. Yay! So, for the last 20 years, me and two friends have been running a nonprofit dance company. And so, when we started, we must have been like 2 years old, right? But when we started, we were in our early 20s. We were right out of college and out of really just starting our life and decided that this was something that we desired to do. And we did it at a time in our lives when we didn't have a whole lot of life experience and work experience. We didn't have all these different resources, but we just had a desire to see something happen. And here we are 20 years later, and we have created something that's far beyond what we would have ever thought or imagined. And so it really inspired me to make this video about the lie that is holding you back from your dream life or your dream business. And so when I say your dream life, it can be encompassing the business that you desire to create, or maybe it's just that dream personal life that you have for yourself, being able to financially support yourself or to be in a place where you feel more confident about how you lead your life, or being able to step and really feel fulfilled in your passions, in your relationships, and all of that. And if it's your business, whether it is how your business is doing from a revenue perspective, or just are you feeling fulfilled in your business? And maybe a part of your life is a career and not necessarily a business. When I think about what's holding you back in your life, and I'll go ahead and say career or business, I really believe that there is one thing that holds us back. And one of those, and not one of those things, but the thing that I think that holds us back the most is the fact that we don't believe that we are enough. It is a plague. I guess I was just talking about this on LinkedIn, that there's a plague that I believe that many of us have, and particularly I believe women have if they have experienced being the only woman in spaces. And I believe that it happens a lot with women of color or people that have grown up in a certain socioeconomic status, regardless of what their color is. But I find that it's happened a lot with those that I worked with, and I worked with a lot of women of color. And I feel like when it comes down to feeling enough, there's always something that we are looking to prove to ourselves, but even more so to everyone else. We are looking for external validation. And because we are looking for that external validation from every source that we could probably think of, we discount what we bring to the table. We discount what we bring to the table even after we get accolades, even after we get some of that external validation that we're craving, we still discount it. And that holds us back from moving forward in the things that we desire to do, because we get into this analysis paralysis. We start doubting our expertise. We start doubting our skill set. We start doubting even our problem solving skills to be able to make decisions and figure things out, so much so that we just don't get it done. So the lie that is holding us back is we don't think we're good enough, because if we really thought we were good enough. And I want you to think about this. If you really sat in this moment and sat with yourself and really considered the things that you desire to do in your life, in your career, in your business, and you haven't actually made it happen yet, I want you to consider, just get really quiet with yourself and consider, is the core reason you haven't done it because you don't believe that you are able to do it? Or are you waiting for someone to give you permission to do it, to go be great? Because on the inside, subconsciously, you really believe that you don't have what it takes. Because I guarantee, and the reason I guarantee is because if you have made it this far in life, you have done some things, you have accomplished some things, and I can't even name all the things that anybody has ever accomplished, because so many people have accomplished so many variety of things, right? You graduated high school, you've overcome abuse, you've overcome bullying, you've overcome different things in your life. You're doing things in your life that maybe you never thought you would have the ability to do. And because you have overcome things, because you have achieved things, regardless of where you place it in terms of how important it is or not, you actually have done those things. And that's how I know that you have decided at one point or another that you were enough to do X. You were enough to apply for that job. You were enough to start a venture. You were enough to help somebody else out in an area that they may not have felt very strong in, and you knew you could help them. So there are times in your life where you feel enough. And so I'm just wanting you to consider, is the thing that you desire to do next. And so I do a lot of coaching and a lot of consulting with people that are looking for their next. So I love to help people strategically figure out what their next is. I love to help women and coach them into the next thing they're desiring to do in their career, in their life, in their business. I help them birth their business. I help them get really clear about what they want to do, and even more so, help them know that they already have the goods to do it and really catapult them into that space. And so, for that reason, I guarantee if you sit with yourself long enough, you can realize that the only thing that's holding you back from the next thing you desire to do is your feeling of not feeling enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling like you are ready for the thing. When in actuality, you only need to do one thing, and that is to decide you are ready for the thing. When you decide you are ready for the thing, everything in you will rise up and create the solutions that will help you achieve it. And I'm saying this because I've been in this very nostalgic mood these last couple of days, having celebrated our 20th anniversary of our dance company. And really just thinking back over 20 years of all the things I've learned and I've grown in running a company, leading people, hiring people, letting go of people, developing people, raising money. It's a nonprofit, raising money, creating something from whatever I had in my hands, whatever me and my business partners had in our hands, creating something from that. And it was because something in us was so excited and so moved to make an impact that we decided to create something that was did not exist. And with that passion and with that inspiration, we came up with ideas, and we had the enthusiasm, the energy, the adrenaline to figure it out. Regardless, we knew that there were things that we didn't know. And you know what? When we had that drive, we went and did it. And there are times throughout that 20 years where we did not feel like we were enough. We thought that what everyone else was doing was better than we were doing. But you know what? We felt that, we experienced it, and we still did what we could do with what's in our hands and still believed ourselves forward. And so, with that being said, if there's anything that you know is holding you back from what you desire, I want you to consider, is it because I truly don't believe I'm enough? That I'm not smart enough, that I don't have enough experience, I'm not old enough, or maybe I feel like I don't have enough resources, or I'm not well liked enough, or I don't speak well enough. It's something that has to do with enough, or something that has to do with I'm too this, right? Or it's too late for me, or it's too hard. All the excuses that we come up with to really foster or to continue to make us keep that belief that we're not enough. So we just make excuses to continue to feed that belief. When at the end of the day, I want you to begin to see that you are enough, that what I have right now is enough, and that there are other things that I can learn. But you know what? I can move forward with what I have, because I guarantee if you sit down and you journal and really think about, if I thought I was enough, what would I do right now? That is actually a really good question for all of us to ask ourselves regarding any area of our life. If you really believed you were enough, what would you go do? What action would you take? How would you speak differently? What would you see in your life that is different as a result of simply believing that you were enough? Because when you believe that you are enough, you will stop procrastinating. You will stop pumping the brakes on whatever you said you want to do. And this is a really good time to consider if enoughness is the thing, especially as we get close to the end of the year, as you get closer to the end of the year, people naturally, even if people say they don't do New Year's resolutions, people naturally are thinking about, okay, did I do the things that I said I was going to do this year? What other things do I desire to accomplish? What can I get done in these next couple weeks? What am I going to recommit to? And here's the thing, you can recommit all day long. You can say this is the thing that you want to do. But if you haven't done it yet, you really need to start thinking about, well, what is the core reason? What is the root reason that it's keeping me from actually doing what I said I wanted to do and what I've been planning on doing for maybe years on end? And if it is anything like I think it is, it's probably rooted in you believing you are not enough. That is the lie. The lie is, I am not enough. Because if you thought you were enough, you would have done it by now. You would have sent the email, you would have had the conversation, you would have made the move. And maybe you're saying, well, Desiree, I already made the email and sent it. I've already had the conversation. I've already made the move. But did you stop? Did you continue to keep the momentum going? Or did you allow the one thing that didn't give you the answer you thought you should have gotten the first time around discourage you so much and put you back in this space of feeling like you weren't enough? If that is the case, I want to implore you, pick up whatever it is that you've dropped, whatever it is that you've paused on, forgive yourself, right? From taking time away from it, from getting lost in shame, guilt, fear, whatever the case is, and get back on, get back on the horse, get back in the game and make it something that is exciting to pursue, because it is exciting to pursue the thing that you're passionate about. When I think about the running a business for 20 years, I can't lie. I would totally be lying. You know how some people have these videos that are really like clickbait and they're like, how to never have burnout. I just saw this recently, like how to never have burnout. And it's like, you're not gonna never have burnout. It's just not possible. You are a human being, and because of that, you there's no such thing as perfection. You will burn out, but you can prevent some burnout, and you can notice if you have burnout so that the times that you might be in that state become smaller and smaller. So it's happening more infrequently. That is possible. And so I'm bringing that up to say that when you are really doing something that is connected to your passion, connected to something that you feel very closely tied to in terms of the impact that you want to make in the world, the influence that you desire to make, you can do it and run with it. And although you may get tired and you may experience some seasons or times when you're burnt out, there's nothing that's keeping you from actually continuing to build that momentum, because there is something in you that really wants to see that dream, that vision come to pass. And that is what I experienced over 20 years. Yes, there were days that I got tired. There were days where I would feel discouraged, or I would feel like I was tired as tired could be, or felt burnt out. And those are the times that I took a break. Those are the times where I prayed. Those are the times where I had the opportunity to be surrounded by a community, not only my fellow co-founders and business owners, but also the community of people around me. So you can find things to help you get yourself back together. But at the end of the day, I knew that this is what I felt called to do. This is what I felt driven to do. This is what is the impact that I want to make in the world. Not the only one, but one of the ones that I want to make in the world. And so I always had that helping me. And so if you are in that space where you're not feeling enough and it's been hard for you to get back on the horn, get back on the get back on the horn. I'm like horn, horse, all the things. Get back on it, right? Get back in the game. If you've been having a hard time getting back in the game, I want you to think about, well, what's your why? So or just decide you're not going to do it anymore. Like real talk, like you don't have to torture yourself about something that you are not doing anymore, or you decided to take a back seat in. And every day you're wondering, like, oh my gosh, why haven't I done that? And you're shaming yourself and all the things. You really can let it go if you no longer desire to do that. Sometimes we can fill our lives and our minds with things that don't even matter anymore, because 10 years ago we said we were going to do it, and we no longer are just excited about it anymore because we really are detached from wanting to do it. There is nothing that's keeping us going, and that's okay. I'm not talking about that. If that is the case, let it go. But if it's something that you really still feel connected to, something that you really desire to do, And it's not because you're looking for some external validation. It's literally something that lights you up. Then I want you to take some time and think about, well, what is your why? Why does it light you up? Why do you still feel passionate about pursuing the thing that's still on your mind, whether it's something that is in your personal life, your business life, your career? Why do you still have that passion? And write that down. Really get connected to your why. The more you can connect to your why, that's going to help you pick up the pieces that you may have let go of over the last year or months or years or what have you, so that you can start doing the thing again. The other thing you could do as well, especially if, and I'm pretty sure the if is like a fact, but if you believe that it is rooted in this lie of you are not enough, I want you to start writing down what makes you enough, what makes you unique for this experience. And if you find that as you're writing that list, you still see gaps in what you think you need, I want you to start writing down, well, what do you think you need? And I want you to start meditating on how you can get those things. Because if you are really connected to seeing something happen, you will figure it out. This is how I know. And I always, well, I have a lot of examples of this, but one of my favorites is when you're hungry. So I have been in a lot of different financial statuses over the years of my life, which many of us may have. I have been, broke as a joke before, and in this space currently where I'm doing well for myself. And so I know what it's like to be hungry and not have a whole lot of resources. But you know what? I bet you I figured out how to get some food legally. But the point is, sometimes we get in these modes where it's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You know what? We are very creative people. God has created us to be so creative and to figure things out. And that is not just something I'm making up, it's just true. Even if you can't think of any immediate examples for your own life, think about other people you know or other people you've heard of. Maybe you don't know them personally, but you know their story. And you're like, oh my goodness, they made $1 out of 15 cents, or they figured it out at the worst time of their lives, right? There's example upon example of people that have done amazing things in their life when it seemed like there was no way to do it. And so if you find yourself still coming up with excuses for the actual thing that you desire to do to be more influential, to have more impact, or just have more joy and fulfillment in your life, again, I believe it's rooted in this: I'm not good enough. I don't approve of myself being a person that could do this. I'm not worthy to do this. I'm not good enough to do this. This is for someone else. And maybe it's a place of just detaching yourself from the person that does whatever is on your mind, whatever that vision is. So sometimes, there was never a time that I didn't think that I was a business owner. Real talk. I've been thinking about that since I was like a teenager. And so there was never something in me that felt that way. However, I've worked with a lot of clients that desire to start businesses, but they don't identify themselves as business owners or someone that can be business savvy. They make it way bigger than themselves when it's actually very simple to do the steps. It really starts off with just deciding, again, that decision factor, deciding that this is what you desire to do and stepping into being that person. So what might be holding you back may be feeling like, I don't know how I can be that person, right? How can I be that business person? Or how can I be that person that is living a healthy life? I don't even know what that means to do that, right? Or I don't know how to have, really great relationships. I don't even know what it means to be that person. So it's actually easier to say I'm not enough than to recognize that, you know what, I am enough. I just know there's some changes I need to make, right? I just know there's some changes I need to make. And if I make some changes, then I will be ready to step into that life. And so consider, are you willing to change? Are there changes that just need to take place in your life, in the way you think about yourself, in the things that you do, so that you can really not be held back from that life anymore? Because the only thing holding you back is from you shifting to who you are right now to who you know you need to be. And a lot of times it's because we don't think we're good enough to become that person. And probably because we haven't been practicing being that person. We've been living this low level life of just not living in our full excellence. And it's okay, right? You don't have to shame yourself. If you ever heard of this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, sometimes we just reach this place of we're in our zone of excellence. That's what he calls it. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with being in your zone of excellence. At some point, you were in your zone of genius, and then you get so good at what you're doing and you're in this flow, and suddenly, like, you're back into a comfort zone. And I have a great example of that. So I was still running my dance company, and I switched over into being a leadership coach, consultant, trainer, speaker. And so it's been about 6 years since I've been doing that specifically full time. But I have, over the last 20 years, been doing all of those things without that formal title. I did a lot of training, I did a lot of speaking, I did a lot of work with programs delivering content around self esteem, healthy relationships. Some was financial literacy. So I've been doing that my whole life in other nonprofit agencies. Then the last 6 years has been very concentrated around leadership, consulting, and all of the things. And so for me, there was a time where I didn't put on that hat of, I'm a leadership consultant or trainer, because I didn't think I was good enough to wear that hat. Even though I had done it, I had never had the title. And so when it was time for me to shift into that space, I started second guessing myself. And you want to talk about resisting, becoming what I needed to be? I was doing all the things. I'm like, well, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do anymore. And then I would say, like, I'm going to be starting to work with corporations, and I'm going to start working with adults, and had spent so much of my career working with young people and being a nonprofit. And I'm like, I'm going to look like a traitor. I'm going to look like people that, I'm turning my back on my community. I mean, I came up with all the things, really resisting me shifting into just another zone of genius. I had made the leap of nonprofit owner. I had gotten into, I'm saying this over and over, I had gotten into a comfort zone that I just saw myself as this nonprofit leader. I was a dancer, choreographer. I was well known in my city and all the things. And I had, went from being a novice business owner into really standing into being a nonprofit business owner, running a business, leading people in this nonprofit space. And so I had reached a comfort zone. So now I'm in my zone of excellence, because on the inside, I knew that there was another layer of me that needed to, step out of what I was in. And so there was another leap. And so in the big leap, he talks about that, there was another leap that would get me even further into my zone of genius, right? But I was resisting it because it just felt like, well, I'm so comfortable here. And, that's not where I'm supposed to be. And so a lot of times we will resist that next level of who we need to be because we're so comfortable where we are right now. It's hard to see us in that other place. And especially we think that, oh, I'm doing things so well right now and things are so good. You almost feel guilty for wanting more. And the natural progression of life is growth, right? You're always growing. And it's okay if you do something new. And it's okay if you're saying that, hey, this part of my life was really good. I'm looking forward to this next level of myself. And so, how can you welcome that in versus letting ourselves sit in this space of believing the lie? And the lie is obviously not the truth. The truth is, you are enough for the next level that you desire to go to in your life, in your career, in your business. Whether you're looking to make a new career move, whether you're looking to just have an overhaul in who you have been showing up like in your current position, in your current lifestyle, whether it's personal or professional, whether you have spent forever thinking about a business idea and you haven't been there, you are enough. You get to decide that this is the time for you to move. And let me tell you, if you are looking for help to get to that other side, that is what some of the work that I do with one-on-one people coaching, and what I'm doing in the current class I have right now, which is identity shift. And so it has already started. It's already been rolling. If that is something that sounds like something you need, you will thank yourself by enrolling in this program, because it's really structured to help you rewire your mind and get yourself in a space of identifying as that next version of yourself that is not held back by the lie that you are not enough. This program is to help you see how much you are enough and get you starting to do the things associated with that next level of your life, that next level living. And so if that is something you're interested in, go to my website, www.desireecocroft.com, and click on courses, and you can enroll today. And I would love to see you there. And so, if you know that the lie that is holding you back is you are not enough, make sure you re listen to this video and start doing some of that journaling work that has to do with making a decision, figuring out, like, okay, if I am seeing that I'm looking at myself as not enough, help me let me help myself start thinking about how I am enough. And if I don't see it right away, like, start figuring out, well, like, how could I see it better? How could I see that I'm enough better? Like, what are some other examples that will help me in my life prior to that, just ways for me to prove to myself that I am enough right now. Something that I usually do with some of my clients is this activity called the lie, the truth, and the proof. And one of these lies, obviously, right, is I'm not enough. And so, what is the truth? The truth is you are enough. And what is the proof? And something that you could do is think about, well, what is the proof that you are enough? And find proof. For me, the proof is the faith that I have. So the faith that I have that God has created me to be who I am, and so I can stand in faith that He's created me for big things in my life, and so I use that, right? And you can also use other things, examples in your life that you have already done things, right, that are amazing. And that's how you know you are enough. And so you can create whatever that proof is for you, even if the proof doesn't belong to your life, but maybe it is because you see somebody else doing amazing things and there's someone that's really similar to you. And you're like, well, I know they can do it. I can do it. That's how I know I'm enough. Right. And so that is something else that you can do to really help you really attack this lie, because the lie is what's holding you back. And I want to see you flourish in the rest of your 2024, in your 2025. And I really wanted to share that as it relates to, just some of the things that I've learned after being in business for 20 years. And the more people I work with, and the more I just meditate on how I barely knew all the things when I started the business that I started. And when I hear other people talk about the woes that they have, and they haven't even, really gotten into their business deep yet, it's this theme of not being enough and overworking, trying to prove things to other people and get external validation that's just not necessary. And I just want to help you just know ahead of the game that whatever you may be feeling right now is likely due to that core lie. And I want you to reframe that lie and tell yourself the truth, that you are enough, that you have everything that you need, and that you are a decision away from having everything fall in line to what you desire to do. Once you make a decision, everything will come. It doesn't mean that the outcome is going to already be done tomorrow. You will just be starting the process for you to walk this journey to get to this other side, this elevated life, this dream self that you have. All right. I hope this was helpful to you. I am looking forward to continuing to share some of the nuggets that I've been getting since we have been celebrating our business over the last 20 years. I've really been reflecting on, wow, I feel like I've learned so many different things that I want to share. And so I'll be doing more of that as I continue to share with you all in my YouTube community. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. If you like this video, please like, share, leave in the comments. I really want to hear from you and really create this authentic community where we can exchange, and the things that you have going on that you have questions about, I definitely would want to help you with. So until the next time, have a great day. Bye.